What's up, everybody? This is Colin from Holistic Heritage Homestead. I hope you're all well. Folks, we just had a winter storm come through. Woo! And it was tough. It was very, very cold, and a lot of Americans were really struggling during this time. And I've been thinking, folks, for those of you who are self-proclaimed preppers, you were ready. You had food stockpile, you had water stockpile, sources of energy and therefore heat ready to go. And many of you were not so ready. So I'm going to talk to you folks about some things regarding emergency preparedness, specifically when it comes to storms and winter storms. Now, I don't want you to miss anything, so make sure you watch the full video. At the very least, folks, I hope this provokes some thought and or motivates you and or reminds you of an important thing or things. Now, I'm going to tell you some things that we did to prepare and things we did during the storm to make sure we were well. Number one, keep your phones charged as much as possible as far as the amount, okay? As close to 100% as possible, as frequently as possible. Now, at the very least, folks, most of your phones have flashlights. And I don't know about you, but I use that flashlight all the time. It's very, very helpful. Now, that flashlight could be handy because it can get you to your actual flashlights. All right? And obviously, you want to have your phones charged so you can reach out to law enforcement if necessary, emergency services, get an ambulance, whatever you need. Have your phones charged. Now, this is something that I want you to be conscious of. Prepping is a lifestyle, folks. It's not something that you just do once in a while because you're motivated. It's something that should be habitual. You should already be doing these things. And after a while, hopefully the ideal happens, which is you don't even think about it. You're on autopilot and you just do awesome prepping things. We brought some firewood down from our shop, had that outside of our home ready to go, kept our wood stove going almost the whole time. And we are very, very thankful we had our wood stove because without it, our central heating could not keep up. The temperatures would have plummeted inside our home, folks. And that would be horrible, okay? My wife and I have our two sons, 8 years old, 3 years old, and it's our responsibility to take great care of them. Not only so that they survive, we want them to thrive and be happy, all right? So have your firewood ready, okay? We had propane ready to go in our shop if we needed to get our generator going. And it would have been good to have some gasoline stockpile, but I'm not sure if we did. And if we did not, well, we could have been better in that regard. Obviously, water, okay? You can survive a lot longer without food than you can water, folks. We purchased a bunch of distilled water, which is not the ideal drinking water because of the lack of minerals. However, it's water. It would keep us hydrated if needed. We can cook with it, whatever. And here's a little tip for you, or a big tip rather. Do the lion's share of your cooking and meal prepping during a winter storm. Keep your stovetop going, all right? Besides having delicious and nutritious food available, obviously that's gonna put off heat. So you wanna concentrate your cooking time when it's very cold out, okay? Our stove is awesome. It's an old stove. We could keep it open if we wanted to and keep the keep it on baking mode or broiling mode if we wanted to as a backup heat source. It's a great time to teach your child if you have a child or children if you have children about a tent setup. Now, something you can do if it gets really cold, if your heat goes out, whatever, is get a tent or make a little shelter and create a microclimate. Put that tent preferably in the warmest room in your home, and do not underestimate the value, the power of body heat. So if worse comes to worse, if it gets really bad, folks, put a tent up in the warmest room in your home and snuggle up to your loved ones and get your heat sources, as long as you're being safe inside the tent. Obviously, to hold in heat, you're going to want blankets. Wool blankets are an excellent option as far as breathability, as far as how they handle moisture, and as far as how they hold in heat. Wool blankets are awesome. Wool socks, wool gloves, wool hats, wool things. All right. Yeah, and you want to keep your body thermogenic. So that means you want to eat foods with high protein and high fat content. That's going to keep your metabolism revving high and keep you warm. Now, a lot of people think about extrinsic, external heat sources. What about your body? What about your bodies? You should focus on having your bodies produce lots of heat. Here's another tip. Wood ash. If you have wood ash from a wood stove, fireplace, whatever, or if you have access to wood ash, maybe you have a neighbor or someone who lives close by who has a fireplace and or a wood stove or whatever. Wood ash is an excellent ice melt. Way, way better than the toxic garbage many of you folks put on your property. One of the reasons I really like wood ash for as an ice melt, besides the fact that it works very, very well, is it is like a non-homogeneous mixture. It's not uniform. And having stuff of different sizes in the matter, their particulate matter, whatever the correct way to say that is, gives you traction. It's great for your footwear to get traction. And whenever the snow melts, whenever that maybe a rain comes in and the wood ash ends up on your property, now it's going to be great for the most part for your property, for the microbiology in the soil, for your plants, for your lawn. If you're into growing a lawn, we prefer food forests and gardens food producing plants. But hey, most people that have property of any size have some type of a lawn, okay? And we also, most of our property is what would be considered a lawn. We've let a lot of it grow wild. And for the most part, that wood ash is really going to boost your soil fertility. Excellent stuff to have. Excellent as a soil amendment. Excellent to mix with your potting soil. To add nutrients and also add volume as a filler, help you save money. You'll buy less potting soil that way if you're buying potting soil. And some people might be thinking, well, Colin, if there's a lot of wood ash, that can change the pH of our soil. Have no fear, folks. That is not likely. In my experience, it's not likely, being that rain and animals and earthworms and insects are the great mixers, along with wind, another great mixer of nature. They're the great mixers of nature, and they're going to spread that wood ash out so it's less concentrated. And whatever pH change might happen will probably be a negligible, tiny, insignificant amount. These are just some things I want you folks to think about. Some miscellaneous, possibly random tips that you might not have heard before. Maybe you forgot, okay? I made sure I filled up one of our vehicles full before I brought it home. I failed with our second working vehicle right now. We have 3 vehicles, 2 of them working, 2 of them drivable right now. and our second vehicle was about half a tank. I try to be honest with myself and self-reflect. That is a prepping failure. I should have taken the time and sucked it up when I was driving our vehicle. I didn't want to be cold and be outside filling it up. I didn't have my coat with me at the time. Another prepping failure. All right, but you live, you learn, and preferably have every vehicle on your property, including vehicles you might not be driving, that might not be drivable, with full gas tanks or as close to full as possible. If you have a vehicle that's not drivable, look at that fuel tank as storage. There's another great tip that a lot of people might not think about. That is fuel storage. A lot of older vehicles, you can easily siphon out fuel if necessary. Okay, and I'm not recommending that. I'm not telling you to do that. Whatever you do, do what's legal. Whatever you do it in a safe manner. All right, be smart. Don't be stupid. Yeah, so just some different things to think about, folks. Get your chimneys cleaned out, maybe once a year, maybe once every 2 years or so. Be smart about it. Do it before the storm. You don't want somebody coming out when the snow is already falling or after it has fallen, when the temperatures are super cold. You don't want somebody coming out to clean out your chimney and make sure everything is functioning well, and to do any maintenance work on your wood stove, your fireplace, chimney, whatever, or a combination of those things. And they might not do it because it might not be safe for them. If a storm is already happening or if a storm is about to come, they might not do it because it might not be safe or they might not want to. So think ahead. And as far as firewood stockpiling, that should be done in the spring, in the summer, in the fall, way ahead of the winter. I recommend at least, folks, 2 to 4 weeks before winter temperatures really hit steadily. I'm not talking about just a random cold day. I'm talking about when you're steadily going to have temperatures in the 40s or lower. 2 to 4 weeks ahead of that minimum, have your firewood ready to go, ready to rock. All right. Well, I hope you folks are all well, and I want to encourage you folks. I would like you folks to pray for the people around the world that are homeless, that are cold, that are facing these temperatures with little or nothing, folks. And also pray for people who have been dealing with rough times during these cold times, and maybe they've had a pipe burst or pipes burst. Maybe their heating is out. Maybe they're just dealing with some tough times, don't have enough money to stockpile water and food. Say prayers for those folks who might be facing one or more of those struggles. All right, have an attitude of gratitude and reach out to your neighbors. That means keep an eye on the elderly folks in your neighborhood. Call, text them. Calls are preferred. A lot of elderly people prefer phone calls. Also, they might not be able to text, might not even know how to text, some of these older folks. Call them, or even better than calling them, go there, check on them, make sure they're well. Another thing you folks can do as responsible preppers, because prepping is not just about your families and yourselves, prepping is about your community. You should take care of your family members first. You should take care of your family before you take care of anyone else. However, when your family is well taken care of, you should then reach out to community members and take care of them as well. Maybe there are mentally or physically handicapped people in your area. Check on them in the aforementioned ways that I mentioned regarding checking on elderly people. Check on elderly people and people that have mental and or physical handicaps. All right, take care, everybody. Share this video if you found this to be valuable, if you found it to be educational and/or motivational. and/or reminded you folks of anything you think if it can be valuable. If you think it can be valuable to anyone, let's get this out on social media. All right, take care, everybody.